moment, many businesses are going through incredible changes and are reorganizing. New leaders are emerging. This is an opportunity for young professionals who are eager to step up and to fast track their career. In today's broadcast, we talk about organizational change, career progression, and the opportunities that are arising for young professionals to transition into leadership positions. With business growth guru Geoff Hirsh, skills, in what kind of skills professionals would need to succeed in a leadership position, or just kind of, I guess, progressing their career on, the other side of this current situation. What would those key skills be?
The things that never change relate to need to out of a silo where you have become particularly skilled at one functional aspect of the business that you work in, whether that's sales or marketing or manufacturing or operations or finance or technology or HR or whichever functional silo you're working in. You need to be able to move from that position of knowledge and depth of experience to a general management position where you are working in collaboration with teams of people that have greater expertise in their own functional area than you do, and yet somehow still manage the productivity of people whose particular expertise you don't necessarily know or understand. So the transition from sort of a line management position within a particular functional silo to a general management position always requires a degree of adaptation. And the first adaptation is probably a personal one, where it's coming to terms with the fact that you are not always the go-to expert. So it's about interpersonal skills, it's about listening skills, it's about developing the ability to get the best out of people in your team, even if you cannot show them where the answer is, giving them a framework that allows their mentoring and coaching. So, there's a whole skill set, a leadership skills that's required. That hasn't changed. The personal skill set requirement changes either. So you need to become a better communicator. You need to become a better leader. You need to become a more effective presenter, right? Because now it's talking about how you influence others. Okay, so if you are playing on a bigger stage, you're playing with bigger budgets, you're playing with more important decisions, the people who are reviewing your output want that presented concisely, succinctly, effectively. They want to be able to make a decision based on the information you provide them. So there's a whole bunch of skills that are required in a leadership position that transcends departments that aren't necessarily required when you are a leader within a department. So that's a big change, and I don't think that's going to be any different during or post-COVID than it has been for the last 20, 30, 40 years. I think what is going to be different is that some of the changes that we're seeing to the way we're doing business today are going to be temporary, and they're going to be let go the moment business is allowed to go back to business as usual. Others, I think, will be structural in that businesses are going to discover, out of necessity, better ways to do things. They're going to discover where automation can replace what was once a manual and cumbersome procedure, where a distributed workforce can be more productive or effective than a collected workforce. So the work habits, the work processes, the interaction and the collaboration are now going to all be wrapped around technologies that probably were regarded as fringe as little as 2 months ago, and now are regarded as anything but. They're normal, they're our go-to technologies. So I think that ability to sort out what was a solution to a particular problem, the problem being our need to self-isolate, and what actually has introduced an improvement that can be incorporated into the new way of doing business, is going to be another skill. And it's a skill that probably wasn't a requirement 3 months ago.
That's right. I think a lot of skills you were talking about, they haven't changed in the requirements prior to COVID or prior to any kind of risk or crisis that could come through. I think something that's going to have to change is that technology piece, like you mentioned, but also about how organizations are prepared for risk and crisis management. And I think, you know, a lot of what has happened and what's going to be coming out of the other side, we speak a lot about, you know, what's going to happen when Australia reopens or when business goes back to business as usual. I'm not sure there will be that business as usual mindset moving forward. That's my personal opinion.